For 3 long years, EA Sports is back with another UFC game. EA Sports UFC 5 dropped October 27th on Xbox Series X, S, the PlayStation 5. However, the thing that fans want to know the most is, after all this time, was it worth the wait? Hi, my name is Tyriece Simon, newswriter at MMNews.com, and I had the pleasure of playing this game for the review. To get a little information about myself, I've played the past EA Sports games, going back from EA Sports UFC 1 to now playing the latest one. And I also have a bit of experience to say what they've changed and what they improved on. Now, for this review, we're going to go from a rating of 1 being awful to 10 being perfect and see where this game lies. Now, let's get to the review. Now, let's address one of the glaring issues of EA Sports UFC 5, the roster. One significant issue of the game is the fact that the roster is almost identical to EA Sports UFC 4. Certain fighters like CM Punk and Brock Lesnar do not return in the newest game. However, there are many fighters that have not fought in UFC that do. Fighters like Paige Van Zandt, Johnny Eduardo, Thomas Almeida are just a few fighters that have not been in the UFC in over a year that are still playable in the game. It also brings up the fact that there's fighters that are in the UFC that are not in the game as well. Fighters like Jeff Neal and Drew Dober are ranked in their divisions, but have yet to be in the game. There's also the flyweight division. The flyweight division in EA Sports UFC 5 has only 13 fighters, with 5 characters not active on the UFC roster, like Jussier Formiga and Demetrius Johnson, who's fighting in one championship. To put it into perspective, the UFC flyweight division has a rankings of 15 fighters, including 2 top 5 flyweights like Manal Kape and Amir Albazi, who are not in the game. Saving grace of this is that EA Sports has added new characters in the past over time throughout the game, and they have announced that there are going to be fighters coming in starting in December, going into next year. They're going to introduce more characters that should have been in the game. They're going to be introduced over time. Now, one of the coolest things that EA Sports UFC 5 has going for it is the fact that it's using Frostbite Engine, and it's a great new feature. Majority of the fighters look incredible to their real-life counterparts. A few look questionable, like Aljamain Sterling, who's even spoke about it on Twitter. That said, this is the best looking game of the franchise, and I was absolutely blown away by what EA Sports was able to do. The one thing I wish EA Sports would have nailed, though, was the authenticity of the UFC, as some of the fighters that come out to pretty generic music. I understand that may be costly, but it adds another sense of realism to the game when you have fighters like Conor McGregor coming out to his signature song and a signature walkout with Notorious B.I.G. playing in the background. It would add more authenticity to the game and made it feel more real. Instead, they gave him a generic song with bagpipes as an instrumental. Unfortunately, EA Sports couldn't get most of the signature walkout songs for the fighters, and while it is a downer, it doesn't hurt the overall enjoyment and what they've done to make the EA Sports UFC 5 game look incredible and look like you're actually playing with the characters that you see on TV. Now, I talked about the roster. I talked about how the game looks with the new Frostbite engine that looks incredible. I think what fans are really curious about is, how does the gameplay compare to the previous game? While EA Sports UFC 5 faltered in some areas, like I'm talking about with the roster, the gameplay is not one of them. I'm happy to say this is the smoothest striking and grappling has ever felt in a UFC game. This game stands out and is far improved than the previous game, and that makes striking and grappling much easier, more seamless, and much more smoother. One of the significant features of the new game is the fact that cuts and bruises on fighters play a significant role in how a fight occurs. Doctors can stop a fight if a cut is too bad. Another example is how fighters can get hit in the eye too much, their eye gets swollen, making it harder to defend attacks coming from that side. This adds another sense of realism to the game and makes players want to be cautious of how they approach a fight. Another thing that I think is improved on is how attributes actually matter. This is the first I felt in a UFC game that attributes of a fighter actually plays a role in how a fight can take place. Fans will have to be mindful of how they play with other people. For example, Derek Lewis may have 100 overall punching power, but may be slower than other heavyweights like John Jones. This makes fans think about how to get closer and how to lure their opponents in, like if you were Derek Lewis, to get that big highlight reel knockout that the Black Beast is known for in the UFC. People who are not fans of the grappling in the last game are going to feel much more comfortable in EA Sports UFC 5. The game adds more animation for transitions on the ground, which feel more seamlessly, and is not as complicated as the last game, which makes it more manageable. I was amazed at how it looked to battle on the ground and try to go for submissions while playing against other people online. The grappling is a huge step up and makes you wonder how EA Sports can take it farther if they make another game years from now. Another question I think people are going to want to know is, how is it like playing online? The online aspect of EA Sports UFC 5 is what I think will hook fans the most to want to play the game. Of course, the game has a career mode, but the experience of playing against other people in different parts of the world is what's going to make this game more fun. Since the gameplay is better than the previous year, hardcore fans, I believe, will enjoy improving their skills to beat their competitors more effortlessly. You can also use your creative player that you create in your career mode to help climb the ranks against other people online. This could lead you to being ranked in your online division and becoming a champion. Another nice aspect of the game that will continue the replay value for quite some time. However, I did run into glitches with the game, like fighters disappearing from the cage while playing online. Hopefully, EA Sports will address these issues in the near future, making the online experience more smoother and more enjoyable. Now, let's also get into EA Sports UFC 5 Career Mode. The newest game does improve career mode, but there's still more that could have been done, I believe. Like the previous title, you are trained by the game's original character, Coach Davis, as he helps guide you from local competition to the UFC. After a few fights in the indie scene, you find yourself with a Dana White Contender Series opportunity, which you can win and get a UFC contract. Now, fans may notice it's the same setup as the last game, but they did add cutscenes that give the characters more emotion and tell a story. You also have Valentina Shevchenko around to help give you guidance as you try to become an MMA superstar. This helps make the game experience more personal as you try to make it to the UFC, but it feels there's more that could have been done. However, it is still a step up from the previous game and does create potential for what they could do in the future. And this brings me to my overall rating for EA Sports UFC 5. Like I said before, there are some frustrating things like the roster choices that bring the game down for me a little bit. The glitches on online mode are something that seem fixable, but it's not ideal. However, EA Sports UFC 5 is a good leap up from past titles. After a 3-year wait, you wish for it to take even more significant steps, but it's a great move forward. What they could do with a potential EA Sports UFC 6 excites me. However, EA Sports UFC 5 is going to hold me over for quite some time. I am enjoying it so far. I can't wait to dive back into it and play against people online and test my skills. EA Sports UFC 5 smashes predecessors and makes the game worth the wait. I give EA Sports UFC 5 an 8 out of 10. Please let me know what you think of the game if you played it. What would you rate it between a 1 to a 10? I've enjoyed it. I'm happy to hear what you guys think about the game also. Signing off, my name is Tyriece Simon from MMAnews.com, and I'll see you guys next time.